There's no denying that streaming is the future right now, at least as far as most of the main studios see it. I'm not sure I agree, considering it limits you in many different ways by focusing every effort at, well, one thing. Putting all your eggs in one basket doesn't seem very smart to me. In fact, I've been saying this from the beginning. The studios need to continue to lean into the theatrical model and every other element of the successful cycle that they had built for many, many decades. Physical media still sells and makes you money. Digital media, of course, will sell as well, and you can utilize the streaming platforms the same way you would have in a pay-per-view type of video on demand, or, just a regular streaming element added to your platform 90 days after it premieres in theaters. Seems like a no-brainer to me. But several of these studios have found success, including HBO Max, which CEO Jason Kilar talks about in this article right here. Let's look at it. Here we go. Coming to us from Variety's VIP platform, we have the story Data How Movies Powered HBO Max 2021 Subscriber Growth. Now, there are some details in here that may get left out that I may have to fill in, but let's just read the story as it is. Warner Media shared updated subscriber numbers Wednesday for HBO and HBO Max. Of course, this is Wednesday, which is, what day was that? January 12th at this point. Noting that the 73.8 million total exceeded internal projections for 2021. CEO Jason Kilar credited his controversial decision to debut Warner Brothers' entire 2021 film slate in theaters and HBO Max simultaneously. And he seemed to have convinced some other studios to do or use similar tactics. While the company stopped short of sharing any numbers on how specific movies performed, of course they didn't, data from connected TV analytics firm Samba TV gives a sense of how the titles fared on the streaming service. US viewership of 2021 Warner Brothers films. So here we go looking at these numbers, and the things that pop out to me are Godzilla vs. Kong at 3.6 million, Mortal Kombat at 3.8 million, The Suicide Squad at 2.8 million, and The Matrix Resurrections at 2.8 million. Aside from that, everything seems to fall just short of 2 million, with the exception of the film Space Jam: A New Legacy, which we know was roundly a failure both in streaming and obviously at the box office. Dune came up just shy of 2 million at 1.9 million, and at the box office did pretty well. Launching on December 22nd, Matrix Resurrections was viewed on HBO Max by 2.8 million households from Wednesday to Sunday. That total falls short of the 3.6 million households that viewed Godzilla vs. Kong. Samba TV collects viewership data through proprietary content recognition technology on opted-in smart TVs. And we've been talking about Samba TV and Roku and their data collection methodology, and it seems to be pretty effective. Samba TV uses its data set to estimate household TV viewership, but does not estimate viewership on devices other than TVs. Panel members must watch a title for at least 5 minutes to be counted as a viewer. In other words, these views could be quite misleading. Who knows how many people started The Matrix Resurrections and opted out after the first 10-15 minutes? We don't really know. The article goes on to break down the data based on the days that films released. Warner Brothers dropping films on Thursdays like Suicide Squad was viewed by the most households during the Thursday to Sunday period debut. So they are going to have a takeaway from that. The aggressive day and date strategy, internally known as Project Popcorn, was undertaken with the goal of boosting HBO Max subscriptions in mind. But that was always going to come at the expense of the slate's box office returns and caused considerable headaches for Jason Kilar, who was widely criticized for the decision by various profit participants, including leader directors like Christopher Nolan and Denis Villeneuve. But on the basis of simply helping HBO subscriptions, Project Popcorn seemed to succeed. AT&T senior EVP and CFO Pascal Desroches in April said that the day and date films had been a great catalyst for subscriber growth at HBO Max. And we will look at the infographic here, kind of breaking that down from Q4 of 2019 to Q3 of 2021. It's a pretty considerable period of time, marking 8 quarters. They went from a total of 34.6 million all the way up to 45.2 million in just US HBO Max and HBO subs. Now, that's the thing I want to point out. They already had a base in HBO subs. Now they have HBO Max, which added to that subtotal. So when you break it down, international HBO Max and HBO subs measured the numbers 20.1 million, 20.7 million, 19.2 million, up to, at the end of Q3, 24.2 million. So both HBO subs internationally with HBO and HBO Max, and HBO Max and HBO subs both rose considerably in Q3 of 2021. Those numbers are pretty impressive.
Very impressive.
Indeed. Fine work.
Domestic HBO subscriber growth, however, looks to be slightly different in this infographic here. As of now, AT&T's Q4 2021 results have yet to be reported and could indicate a notable upswing in US HBO Max subscribers. The January 5th Warner Media subscriber update didn't mention the number of US HBO Max subs in Q4 specifically, so we still have to wait on some additional data. Based on that, there seems to be quite a bit of growth here. Looking at HBO Max sub count specifically is important here because Project Popcorn only applied to the US. Warner Brothers films opened exclusively in theaters internationally, which is kind of interesting, right? Domestically, the HBO Max numbers are here in this infographic. As you look, you can see from Q2 of 20 to Q3 of 21, those numbers went up pretty well. The numbers between wholesale and retail, they increased dramatically, but it looks like 12.6 million retail in Q3 versus 3 million retail all the way back in Q2 of 20. This is pretty big growth. Of course, the Samba TV numbers are merely estimates that pretty much all this data is based upon, and well, obviously, so some of these projections are hard to say when it comes to viewership, but they're helpful anyway, according to this article. HBO Max does not regularly provide viewership metrics for its streaming titles like streaming leader Netflix does. Well, Netflix only touts their successes and not their failures, but I get their point. Warner Media execs have also previously suggested that there is no imminent plans to change course on guarding their viewership metrics. So we'll have to see. But Warner Media, according to the article, is still expected to stick to plans for giving the 2022 Warner Brothers slate a 45-day exclusive to theaters run before they are streamed on HBO Max. And there you have it. A somewhat more traditional approach by Warner is warranted, and we'll have to see what happens as the merger between Discovery and Warner Media finally shakes itself out. To me, a lot of these numbers are misleading because we only have half the picture, as Samba TV accounts for just slightly less than half of all connected television types of devices, basically just the televisions. Whereas when you get into the Roku numbers, those numbers, come back at, well over 50% of the viewership market. So essentially, at least for now, the rule of thumb could be take the numbers here, multiply them times 2, and you're pretty close. So some of these films had far larger viewership than is being reported here, and that's just a point I like to make regularly. This Samba TV really only reflects about, less than half of the actual connected device market because they're only in their TVs. With that being said, it looks like, based on these numbers, the experiment worked, but the question is, was it worth it? Was the sacrifice of profitability, especially in the case of some of these films, was it worth it? I guess that'll be up to the tape measure of time. I don't think so, but what do you think? Use the comment section down below. What do you think about this article talking about the growth, or the successful growth, of memberships, or subscriptions, I should say, with HBO Max because of their day-and-date release strategy? I'm just interested to see if you think it was successful, if it was a mistake, if you think it was worth the loss of profits, or if you think I'm off base and you think that this article is calling it exactly right. Whatever it is, put your comments down below and let's talk about it. Be sure to support independent content creators here on the platform. As I always say, they're not getting their due, and they should deserve at least one viewing. Look out at some of the content that's created by some of the up-and-coming channels, because believe it or not, it's really good, at least mostly. And people are working really hard to bring you stories like this on a regular basis. And with that being said, I'll end the video the same way I always do. Be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye.
Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.